He was told 10,000 times it was impossible. On attempt 9,999, he almost burned the lab down and walked away forever. What happened next rewrote history, and it can rewrite yours. Hit subscribe because your comeback starts in the next 15 minutes. Menlo Park, New Jersey, late 1878. To the outside world, Thomas Alva Edison was already a legend. Telegraph systems, stock tickers, the phonograph, the man who made sound eternal. But inside the lab, behind the bravado and the flashing cameras, something was dying. For 14 months, he had chased one dream, a practical, long-lasting electric light bulb. 14 months of blown glass, charred cotton, exploded platinum. 14 months of investors breathing down his neck, newspapers mocking Edison's folly, and assistants quitting one by one. He had promised the world light by Christmas 1878. Christmas came and went in darkness. By the summer of 1879, the lab was a graveyard of failure. Shelves sagged under thousands of blackened bamboo strips, metal filaments twisted like dead spiders, notebooks filled with crossed-out equations. The air smelled of burnt carbon and defeat. And then came the night that almost ended everything. October 21st, 1879. Filament number 9,999, a delicate thread of carbonized cotton, glowed for 13.5 minutes, then burst into flame. The vacuum pump shattered. Glass rained across the floor. Edison stood motionless in the smoke as his last remaining assistant packed his bag and left without a word. At 3:17 a.m., he was alone. 42 years old, half-deaf, nearly bankrupt. He walked to the window and stared out at the black New Jersey fields. His reflection looked back at him. Hollow eyes, ash on his beard. And in that silence, he heard the two words the world had been screaming at him for months. Just stop. Stop wasting money. Stop embarrassing yourself. Stop pretending you're bigger than nature itself. He rested his forehead against the cold glass. Tears came. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just quiet, exhausted tears of a man who had nothing left to prove and no one left to prove it to. Rock bottom isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just the soft sound of a genius admitting he's finished. But something happened in that darkness that no biography ever captured fully. Edison didn't leave the lab. He sat down on the floor among the broken glass and picked up one single shard. He turned it slowly in his fingers. And then, almost like a child, he whispered to himself, "What if stop meant go?" In that ridiculous, broken moment, he flipped the script. Quitting wasn't the end of the journey. Quitting was the new starting line. He swept the floor at 4 a.m. He rebuilt the vacuum pump with his own hands. He went back to the very first page of the very first notebook, the page everyone else had burned, and he wrote 4 new words at the top. Begin again, smarter. The next 10 months disappeared from most history books because nothing dramatic happened. No press, no investors, no applause. Just a half-deaf man alone in a lab from 5 a.m. until midnight, 7 days a week. He tested 6,000 different plant fibers from around the world. One by one, he woke up every morning and chose the same tiny action. One more fiber, one more hour, one more breath. People think genius is a lightning bolt. It's not. It's a man threading bamboo under a microscope at 3 a.m. while the rest of the world sleeps. Success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, but the perspiration only starts after you refuse to quit on the 19,999th try. October 21st, 1880. Exactly 1 year after the night he almost walked away, Edison slipped a carbonized bamboo filament into a bulb, sealed it, and flipped the switch. It glowed, steady, golden. 40 hours, then 200, then 1,000. The room filled with light that would never belong only to him. He sat down, put his head in his hands, and laughed until he cried. Not because he had invented the light bulb, but because he had invented a new definition of stop. Here are the truths he left us, the ones carved into the walls of that quiet lab no tourist ever sees. 1. The moment you feel like quitting is the exact moment the next level of you is begging to be born. 2. Rock bottom has a trap door, and the handle is on the inside. 3. Stop doesn't mean game over. Stop means redirect every ounce of energy you are about to waste on pride and pour it into the next invisible step. 4. Your greatest breakthrough will almost always come disguised as the moment you have every excuse to walk away. So here's the question I want to leave burning in your chest tonight. What if the thing you're aching to quit right now is actually the doorway to the version of you the world has been waiting for? If that question just hits you somewhere deep, do not close this video yet. Hit subscribe right now, because every Tuesday and Friday, we turn the darkest nights into proof that tiny grit creates unstoppable light. Join this family. We save seats for the ones who refuse to let stop have the final word. 1 second at a time. That's all it ever takes.